How long it took for you to have your training done in Beacon? Do you remember more or less?
I think it was about 5 years on and off. 3 to 5 years on and off.
Mm-hmm.
But I was residential because I moved to Poughkeepsie, New York, which was near Beacon, and doctor helped me get a job in a residential care home for foster children.
That is something that I would like to check with you. When you did your training in Beacon, what about the chairs at the theater? Were still fixed chairs? Because I'm asking you this because what Zerka told me was that when she arrived, she saw that all the chairs at the theater were fixed, and she commented with Moreno that it was not very consistent with the ideas of participation to have these fixed chairs, and that doctor commented, well, the guy who did this theater, he was someone that had experience only with classical theater.
Yes. So in 65 it was changed, they were freestanding, the chairs. But I remember going once to Berkeley, California with Doctor and Zerka, and there were some fixed chairs, and I remember we discussed with the audience how could we make the group so that it wasn't in fixed chairs, because there often when you do a public session in auditoriums there are, and how do you get around that? Do you make a big circle on the stage area, or how do you free them from the script of the chair, in a way?
Yeah.
But what I remember about Berkeley was that Moreno said to the audience, the difference between me and Freud is that Freud had a barber's beard that was cut very well and manicured. And in those days I had a beard that was free and spontaneous and flowing. And in those days, in the 60s, all the students had beards, so they loved it, they were really hippie involved, they could identify with that.
Do you remember the last time you met Moreno? How was he?
Well, he was in his 70s. What you were clear about with Moreno was if he was busy writing a book, he would say, the training is cancelled tonight because I'm still involved in chapter 6 and we'll see you tomorrow. Or if there was a film that he wanted to see, he would call the house and say, let's all go to the film because Jonathan wants to see it, or Zerka and I want to see it. And in Beacon there was only one cinema, So we went as a family. And I remember seeing Doctor and Zerka hold hands for the first time and thinking, oh my God, they're regular people, they're holding hands, I couldn't believe it. But one felt that we were in a family where if his presence was with us, and Zerka's presence, we knew that's where they wanted to be. Because when they didn't want to be there, we knew they wanted to be somewhere else. You couldn't do that. In our training program, if people came from all over the world to have a training session with us, and we'd say, sorry, it's cancelled because I'm writing a book, they would go crazy. But in those days, and I also remember a priest coming with his assistant from another country, and the priest had purple robes and all this stuff. And Moreno interviewed him and kicked him out. And that was very exciting for all of us to see that he kicked out the clergy. And we said, why did you do that? And he said, because I think they only came to eat here. I also remember another time in our training group when Mao Tse-tung and LBJ were opposite each other. I think we talk about that in the interview with Zerka. And Moreno said, those two need to learn to role reverse. We were in the training at night at his house, And he would say, get me the telephone. So he always had a glass of orange juice, you know, so he put his orange juice down and get me the telephone. And he rang China. Because he said, I think it's important that we tell Mao Tse-tung that he needs to row reverse with Lyndon Baines Johnson. And we sat aghast, you know, he's phoning China. And it was the middle of the night and Mao was asleep, so it didn't, nothing happened. But then the idea of the immediacy of it was so exciting, you know, the immediacy.